Hey everyone, it's your friend Think Noodles, and welcome to Ask Think, episode number 133. And, well, it is the week of Christmas. I'm excited because looking at our Christmas tree right now, there's a ton of presents under it, and I haven't wrapped any. So that means pretty much all of those, minus Kopi's, are mine, which is awesome. My wife, she loves to wrap things, and obviously I'm not going to let her wrap her own gifts. So every time, as soon as she's bought something, she wraps it. But anyway, okay, let's get to the video. Sorry, just excited. Last week, I asked you guys a question. It was, if your house caught on fire, what one thing would you save and why? And there were a bunch of answers, but most really were repeated answers, very, very common answers, and I loved how sweet you guys were. But anyway, okay, so we'll start with some of the ones that were different, and that starts with Ginger Blue, and she says if she could save anything in a fire, it'd be her life necklace, and it's something she got in communion from her parents, so it's like a family-related thing. Abigail Nunez says, or maybe it's Nunez, but couldn't put the Enye. But anyway, I would take my wallet if my sister already took the dog for obvious reasons. Okay. Gigi Tacos would save their taco stash, or maybe Gigi. Because no one, and she means no one, messes with their taco stash. And my family would already be out, so there's no point in saving them, except for the taco stash. Piglet World says no one's gonna cry, right? They would save their bed because they want to sleep. Now, a few people said that they would save electronics like their Xbox or their tablet, so some of them can watch me. Then Bo the Moose said they would save their moose ornament because it's their lucky charm every year on Christmas, so I guess whenever they put that on the tree, they get everything they asked for Christmas. A few people have like an emergency box or an emergency kit or bag. And, Widgies has like drawings, USBs with backups and things like that. But Julius has like, I don't know. I actually think he's Daryl from The Walking Dead. I mean, he's got like survival knives, a bow and arrow. I was like, wow. Smiley Freak would save all his Christmas presents in a fire because he doesn't want to let it go to waste. And then one of the most common answers was, a stuffed animal or a blanket or, something that you grew up with, as a child, and still maybe sleep with. And I thought that was so sweet how you guys really, really care about these little things, these little stuffed animals and blankets. And I remember my Herbie, when I was your age, and if I were asked this question, I would have saved Herbie the Clown. I didn't have Kopi at the time. Actually, when I was your guys' age, I didn't have a dog, actually. I was in between dogs. I was post Missy, but before we moved to Indonesia. So there was like a good 3 or 4 year period where we had no dogs, and that would have been around the time that you guys are, the age that you guys are, like I guess like between 9 and 12 or 13. And yeah, I would have said my clown doll. Now, a few people said a picture or photo albums, and that's a really good one. I remember I watched this show one time. I think it was Revolution, and I really fell out of touch with it really quickly. I think after 4 episodes, I'm done with the show. But anyway, the premise was that there was some sort of EMP or something, and there was no electricity, and people were just, it wasn't a zombie thing like Walking Dead, but the world had kind of changed drastically, and with no power, it was interesting because one of the most prized possessions that people had was photographs and printed photographs. And it really got me to thinking, we have all these pictures on our computers and our iPhones and our tablets and all that stuff. But if the power were to go out, if it's on your phone, it only lasts as long as your phone can charge. You'll never be able to see those pictures ever again because they couldn't get the power back on. But if you had a photograph, it'd be something you could look at. And I was like, wow, I really need to print some of these pictures that we have. Now, the most common answer was their family. And Ohana means family. Yeah, someone said Ohana. which is, Lilo and Stitch. That's my Stitch impression. I'm working on it. It's really bad. I don't know. I've just been, after I did the Elmo thing, I just was like, I wonder if I could do Stitch, but it's not working out so well. Anyway, then the next most common answer was people's pets, or were people's pets. Various types of pets: hermit crabs, dogs, cats. Some people said, well, my dog would be way out the door before I would, and probably Kobe would too. She hates smoke. Anytime she sees smoke, she tries to avoid it, and I'm not really sure why. I think I've told you guys that before, but anyway, a few people cheated and said they would get a fire extinguisher and just keep going on like nothing happened. And then we have a Tricky Ninja 120 who says, my washing machine, no explanation needed, period. However, I beg to differ. I think an explanation is needed. Why would you save your washing machine, especially if you don't save the dryer? I mean, what are you gonna do? Wash your clothes? You're gonna have a bunch of wet clothes, and then what? Right, exactly. So, explanation needed. Now for next week's question. This is a really, really good one. It comes from Gia Kim, and it says, question: if you could spend 3 hours with me or another famous YouTuber in your area, meaning if you live in California, Think would come to California to you, you wouldn't go to Think in New York, what would you do? What would you show him, and who would you introduce him to besides playing Minecraft? Or you know what, besides playing any video games, right? No video games, what would you do? What would you show me, and who would you introduce me to, or the other YouTuber? And if it's another YouTuber, say who it is, so that, it seems appropriate, and it can be anything reasonable and doesn't have to be based on winter activities. And I didn't feel like shortening the question, so thank you for that one. That one's an awesome one. Although, okay, I can answer this one too. Obviously, I'm not going to meet myself, but I'll think of it. And I forgot to tell you guys my answer to this week's question. Oops. Yeah, it was well, I would save Kofi. I would assume that my wife would be right next to me, or probably not home because she's always operating. But yeah, I would save Kopi. Yeah. Even though she'd probably run out the door way faster than me because she hates smoke. So, guys, let's get on the questions for me. But don't forget to leave your question for me in the comments below so I can have something to answer next week. Remember, only one question per comment, but you can leave as many comments as you like. Also, if the comments on this Ask Think are closed, go to the most recent Ask Think and ask your question there. Now, the first question is more of a reminder from Neth110. It says, by the way, I believe yesterday, and this is correct, yesterday, Sunday the 21st, was my 2-year Minecraft anniversary, and I totally blew it, guys. I had thought of this about a month ago. I was like, oh man, December 21st is coming up. It also happens to be, I think, the day that Gangnam Style hit 1 billion views. I think it was. And also the day that the world was supposed to end according to the Mayan calendar. Anyway, big day, But yeah, I totally missed it when I did the episode. And it was funny because it was a Noodle Planet episode. I mean, it was perfect. I could have been like, yay, 2 years. But no, I spent my whole time putting noodle colors on a ship. But yes, it has been 2 years. Unbelievable. BV Puhil asks, what dialect of Chinese does your wife speak? Well, she speaks, it's a dialect of Cantonese called Toi San. Tyler asks, what microphone do you use? I want to know what mic I should get if I start YouTube. Well, common answers to questions, or answers to common questions like that are on my website, thinknoodles.me. You can find a link on my channel page or in the description. And things like that are fairly commonly asked, and I just haven't answered one in a long time, so I just wanted to remind you guys that that's where those questions are answered. I will answer it for you, of course. I do use an MXL USB 009. Now, as a beginning YouTuber, I would not recommend this microphone, only because it's expensive. I didn't start with this microphone. I started with this little Logitech boom mic thing. I don't know, it was really cheap, like $10. Then I upgraded to a Blue Snowball. Then I got this microphone and love it. And you guys seem to love it as well, but I would recommend getting something cheaper to start with. Maria Kara asks, do you know how to program? I'm learning right now. It's complicated at first, but you can do amazing things with it. Yes, I do. I have a bachelor's degree in computer engineering, and that means it's sort of, I guess the degree is half computer science, which is mostly, almost entirely programming, and the other half is electrical engineering. Stephanie Larson asks, besides your channel, what work do you do? And Shino1234ization is like, he doesn't actually have a job, but he has websites. Well, yes, I do administer websites as well, but this is more than a job. It's funny because a lot of people don't realize how much pressure and also how much work goes into being a YouTuber. I mean, it sounds like the easiest job in the world, right? I mean, definitely it's fun, really fun. I mean, right? I get to play games and talk to you guys, and that's my job. But it's not easy, and it is a lot of work. If I had a regular job, I'd probably be working, maybe 50, 55 hours a week. But with this job, I probably put in well over 80 a week, if not more. I mean, sometimes I'll do a Things Lab episode. There's not a single Things Lab episode that I do that takes me less than 6 hours of work for, a 10 to 15 minute video. So to you guys, it might look like, hey, you recorded a video for 15 minutes, but no, it takes me an hour or two to prep, 2 hours plus to record, and then, anywhere between 2 and 8 hours to edit. Who knows? Actually, more than 2, probably 3 to 8 hours. It really, really is. It is a lot of work, and it is more than a job. It's almost a life. Widgie6 asks, what did you get Kobe for Christmas? You might have to whisper it. She has magical powers. Actually, she knows everything she's getting for Christmas, because whenever we give her her birthday gifts or Christmas gifts, we take her to Petco and we let her pick stuff out. Lately, actually, she hasn't been picking many toys. She just goes up to every Petco employee she can find and tries to get them to give her treats. But she knows everything she's getting. She was there when we bought it. Moody Balombo says, think I saw a person in the comments named Think Noodles. Is that you? Well, it could be. The way you can tell whether it's me, obviously, if you click on the name and it goes to my channel, that's a good indicator. Or actually, you don't even have to click on my name. If you put your mouse over, well, I always assume that you guys are using computers. You could be using a tablet, so never mind that. Forget that. But anyway, the other way you can tell is it colors my name differently when I comment on my own videos. It's a little bit different than anybody else's, and I'm the only Think Noodles with a check mark after their name. Fifc3 says, when you came to Perth, where did you go and stay? What was your favorite thing about it? Okay, this was a really long time ago. I had to be maybe 12 years old, so we're talking 25 years. So I can't quite remember much about where we stayed. I do remember, for some reason, I remember it being just like warm and sunny. I don't know why. And the favorite thing about it was we went to, it was a zoo, and I don't like zoos anymore because I just feel really bad for all the animals. But I mean, it wasn't a zoo. It was like it was like a wildlife park, I guess. But some things were in cages, and I remember they had koalas and kangaroos and stuff there. And it was really cool, and wallabies, and I don't think we saw any platypus. But anyway, the coolest thing to me was seeing the Tasmanian devil, because Taz from the cartoons. I mean, they look completely different, obviously, but that's what it was. It was cool to see it, and it was like hidden in a little cave, not a cave, but its little den. And I mean, I remember oh my gosh, I was so cool. I saw Taz, the Tasmanian devil. But if I think back to it, it was a little disappointing because he didn't do that tornado thing. Gigi Tacos says, I think I've got a question. You say your wife works at a hospital. Has she ever done an operation? Yes, she is in her surgical residency, and she operates every single day. Alice ABF says, I kind of accidentally found out what I'm getting for Christmas. What do I do? Well, I would say pretend that you don't know. Sort of act. But I think what you should do is next year, Don't go snooping for your presents. I learned, I don't know what age I learned it at, but I never go looking for my presents. I found that, I think what happened to me was the same thing that happened to you. I found my presents and I was like, yay, oh my gosh, I got a whatever. And I'm like, but I have to wait 2 weeks before I get to open it and use it. Ugh. So then I thought about it and I was like, wait, why don't I just wait until the day that I'm supposed to get it? And then I see it, and then I get to use it right away. So maybe think about that next time. Crazycraft XX says, how do you make processing videos quicker? I don't know, but if you find out, please tell me, because I had a very difficult time with the processing of Things Lab on Saturday. Had to upload it twice, and I guess so when I first uploaded it till the second one finally got processed, and only the 360p, it was 4 hours. Really, really disappointing that I couldn't get the video out to you guys earlier. Smiley Freak asks, what do you enjoy more, acting, editing, or building? Well, so those are three things that are almost, not entirely exclusive, but mostly all about Things Lab. I do the building and acting and editing. I do building in survival as well on the Noodle planet, which I love. I love building in Minecraft. But it really depends. That's really tough because I like the acting and also, improv of when something happens and I, make it into something else, like in the Things Lab where the guy ran in front of me, things like that, making jokes out of things that happen unexpectedly. But the editing is great too, because while it is tedious and there are some parts I don't like to edit, there are some parts where the editing really, really makes the video. Sheena1234ization asks, think how many times do you wash your hair a week? Well, once a day. So I guess, every time I take a shower. So sometimes it depends if I've gone to the gym or something, then I might take a second shower that day. But yeah, at least 7 times a week. Mickey2000MK asks, have you ever thought about making your own cartoon and your characters from your videos, or maybe lip sync a character of another cartoon because of a very beautiful voice, which should totally fit into a character? I would love to do voice acting for some type of cartoon or something. That would be so fun. I would, because I always see those guys like, I remember a long time ago when Beavis and Butthead was popular and loved that show. And I remember when Mike Judge, who's the creator, I don't know if he draws, yeah, he does. I think he does, or he did draw them and also voiced all of them. And he was on the Letterman show and I watched it. And I thought it was the coolest thing when he's just talking and all of a sudden he breaks into character and puts on those voices, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is so cool, and I want to be able to do that. The next person asks, think which Hobbit movie is your favorite, A, B, or C? Oh man, I'm so embarrassed to admit that Jordan would kill me. I haven't seen a single Hobbit movie, and I know I'm a Lord of the Rings fan and all that stuff, and I've even read The Hobbit, but when I missed the first one, I was like, okay. So when the second one comes out, I'm gonna watch the first one on video, and then I'm gonna watch the second one. When the second one, I missed that one too, and now that the third one is out, oh gosh, it's hard to go to the movies at this time of the year for me. The next couple of people talk about Terraria, and after I got the question on the video, I sort of made it my mission to see if I could get it installed on my Mac. And you can play it on Steam, but it's only available in the Windows version of Steam and not the Mac version. So I set about to try and get it to work, and I did. I actually was able to figure out how to install Steam for Windows on my Mac and install Terraria through it. So yeah, I actually, and I tried it and it actually works. I was actually able to play the game. I don't know what I'm doing in it, but I was actually able to load up a world and everything. So who knows? Blake Thrift says, did you know that Club Penguin is making a holiday TV special? And I think you should record the full episode and put it on your Think Noodles 2 channel. Okay, guys, don't do this on your own channels. And here's why. In the past, people have done this, put Disney commercials and things on their channels. It's a guaranteed way to get a copyright strike on YouTube. You got to remember, Club Penguin is owned by Disney. Disney is very protective of its intellectual property and anything that it makes. And you guys just don't do that. Really, because I guarantee you that the Club Penguin official channel is going to put it on their channel. Watch it there. Don't put it on your channels. Don't risk the copyright strike. It will happen. It may not happen right away. It may not happen for 4 to 6 months, but it will happen. And you just don't want to risk it. Master of Gaming 101 says, why are you not doing Club Penguin walkthroughs anymore? Well, there's a few reasons. One, because people in the Club Penguin community seem to think that I sort of I don't know, took away their capability or something. With my popularity, what I did is I took Club Penguin away from them, and they didn't have any fans on their blogs and videos anymore. So that's one reason, because I was well, I was just trying to have fun. But if you guys think that I'm stealing or something, then okay, I'll just play Think Thursday with everyone. That's fun. The second reason is Club Penguin has started really, really spreading out the parties, right? It used to be a party, almost everything. But what they would do is, it used to be a 2-week party. The first day would be, the majority of the party would be included. And then a week later, they would add a couple other things, right? And it was great because you could do a nice long walkthrough with all the new stuff. Now they do it day by day by day. I mean, they do a little bit on the first day, second day, third day, fourth day. And, if I were to do a Club Penguin walkthrough on the first day, it would be okay, log in, you get this one item. And I'll make another video tomorrow. And then you log in and you get this other item. And then I'll make another video, and it would be a bunch of 45-second long videos where probably the intro and outro would almost be longer. And then what happens is, then I'm okay, I'll wait a few days and then I'll do it. And then by the time I get there, it's oh, it's Think Thursday again. And you guys everybody knows all the walkthrough stuff, and there's really no reason to make it. So I don't know. Danielle Beta says, hey, didn't you do a cloning mod earlier in the Thinks Lab series? Yes, I did, but those were completely different mods. That was, I can't remember the name of the other mod, the cloning mod, but it's in the description in that cloning Kobe video. But this one actually isn't really cloning. I made it that for the video, but this one is, you can make these shells, and you guys saw how I got teleported to the other one. You can make a bunch of those all over your world. It's almost like a teleport thing. And that's how it's supposed to work. I made mine a little different. Aiden Kenny says, wait a minute. If your Noodle Planet is no mod survival series, then how is there a computer in your treehouse? That's just a banner. It's a banner and a pressure plate next to it. The reason it looks like a computer monitor is because I've got the block over top of it, so it hides the top of the banner, so it looks like a computer monitor. Kelly Donlan asks, what is the Thinks Lab you are most proud of? Wow. That's a tough one. I mean, I don't know. That's really, so the reason I'm having a hard time with it too is because I'm thinking about the one for Wednesday, Christmas Eve. And I want to make it different than any Thinks Lab I've ever done. And so I think I'm going to be the most proud of that one. If it comes out the way I have it in my head, it's going to be awesome. It may be shorter than normal, maybe even under 10 minutes, but I hope you guys like it because it's going to be completely different than anything Slab you've ever seen. Hopefully. Cameron Williams says, think I saw this mod review thing on your channel. What happened to them? You only did 2. Well, that was way back, and I had just figured out how to install mods, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and review mods that people haven't already done, and I did a couple of them, and I don't know, it just here was the problem, actually. To me, I really liked doing it because it was cool to try out these things that I'd never tried before, but there was no progression of the story, right? In the Noodle Planet, every episode builds on the previous, right? Hexit, same thing. Crazy Craft, same thing. there's a story progression. I mean, it's not a story that I know the end of or even the next episode of, but there's a past and that sort of thing. With the mod reviews, everything was like, okay, hey guys, I'm here. Check it out. Here's some stuff. And then, okay, then, hey guys, here's some more stuff. Check it out. And I didn't have a story to it. So I wasn't really motivated to continue because there was no story, which is why I think Slab is great. It lets me show you guys the mods and it lets me tell a story at the same time. The next couple of people talk about story mode that's going to be made in a partnership with Mojang and Telltale Games. Release next year. Totally gonna play it. Telltale Games, I think what they do, from what I could tell, is they take a popular game or any game, and they put a storyline into it and sort of make sort of like, if you're playing Call of Duty, right? And they have campaign mode versus multiplayer, like that. They'll have a campaign for that game. And they've announced in a partnership with Mojang, they're going to be making one for Minecraft. Now, it's not going to be the story of Steve or anything like that. Probably won't even have Herobrine in it. I don't know. But definitely looking forward to it. Creeper Gamer says, thanks for this video. I was thinking, could you tell us how ThinkSlab works? Like what mods are in it and all that stuff? Because when I watch ThinkSlab, sometimes I'm like, hey, how did he do that? Well, that's one of the things I love, is surprising you guys and doing things that you could never imagine in Minecraft. And so there are a few mods that I use almost every ThinkSlab. One of them is custom NPCs. That is indispensable. I use it every single ThinkSlab to control Kevin or Dave or something. There's always, or sometimes show myself, in fact. Definitely always use that one. The other one I use is damage indicators, and that's kind of, it shows the people, when I put my cursor over a minion, it puts their name in the upper left. I use that a lot. Not, and it's always installed. Sometimes I disable the display for certain reasons that I don't want it on the screen saying a certain name. Of course, OptiFind is installed so that I can zoom on things during the episode. I also use the Cam Studio mod quite a bit, especially now that it's on 1.7.10 for the the cinematic camera angles and things like that. That's how I usually do that. Sometimes I use a second Minecraft account, or sometimes a third. Sometimes I use three at once. Have 3 clients open on my computer. It's really confusing sometimes. Also, I use the More Player Models mod a lot, along with the Morph mod. Those are pretty much the ones I use and almost, or at least are installed in every episode. Whether or not I use them, I usually do use them all. But yeah, those are the ones I use in almost every episode. And then, then a lot of the things probably that you say, how did you do that, was editing most of the time. Dream Crusher 5000 says, if you were playing Minecraft and all your Noodle Planet saves and downloads were deleted and your one Noodle Planet you had left exploded with all your stuff, buildings, cats, and dogs, what would you do? I honestly, I would cry. Like, no kidding. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it or act like I'm tough. I would cry. You guys, there was an episode that I made. It was a while ago, maybe, I don't know, a lot. It was 60 episodes ago or more, where I almost lost my world. There was a chunk error, and I think it was called Very Nearly the End of the World, if you guys want to search for it. And I almost cried there because what happened is there was a chunk error in my storage room, and it had filled it with stone. And I went to my backups, and all of those were corrupted as well because I had maintained backups, not knowing, because I hadn't visited that area in a while, not knowing that it was corrupted. So all my backups were corrupted, and I was beside myself. But I did find the final backup that was okay. I had to go back to the Nether because this was when I was making the Wither Skeleton Farm. I had to go back to the Nether and redo a lot of work, but it was much better than losing my storage room. Now, though, I run it on a server and haven't had any of those problems, and I don't worry so much about it. Skyblaze MC2 says, did you know that 1.8 Forge is released? Yes, and it's in like super beta mode. But the lootable bodies mod that I used in and the one where I die, where I visit Elysium. In order to have, when you die, in order for it to have your skin, you have to be in 1.8. So I actually have it installed. Jerry Mater says, think, how do you get Crazy Craft without getting a virus on your computer? There's a link in the description to all my Crazy Craft episodes to the Void Wrath installer. That's what I used. I didn't get a virus on my computer, so I guess use that. Claw Rach says, how do you feel about having the same name as Justin Bieber? No offense. Well, okay. Let's get this straight, okay? Out in the open right here, right now, guys. I'm older. I was first. He has the same name as me. So I guess he should feel honored. And I don't know, I was first, so I don't have his name, he has mine. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Ask Think. Don't forget to leave your question in the comments below so I can have something to answer next week. I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching, and of course, oh yeah, Merry Christmas. Noodle on.